Hello and welcome back to Rollsborne, where we're playing Shadows over Arkham with last time where Eddie and Charles both arriving home and finding what can only be described as abominations of themselves, which then shed their skin. Killed Eddie's dog and Charles's wife as they made their attacks on Charles and Eddie, who were able to both fight them off, with Charles beating his doppelganger into a bloody pulp, and Eddie blowing up his house in order to finish off the one that had taken his shape. While William was the first person that Charles called after the fact, and revealing that he possibly had a way and a means to bring Charles's wife back from the dead. Charles, in a rather desperate frame of mind, agreed, at which point Eddie showed up at his house, and Charles was making plans to get his children out of town. And William arrived after doing the research into the Necronomicon to bring somebody back, arrived to conduct the ritual. And if you like what we're doing here, please do give us a like and a subscribe. But with that said, back to our GM.
Thank you for that. So, that brings us to this very moment. William has been sending Charles and Eddie out to get specific things that the book has stated. So this book has not been opened this entire time. It seems like William is working off of memory here. And we are now at dusk. The room is adorned with specific candles, some of them scented. Apple, I believe, was mentioned. But the scene is set. William?
Let's see if anything you say is true. Talking to a book again. I guess we'll begin. I'll begin wherever step one is.
As you open the book, I need both Charles and Eddie to make a fear roll at -2.
That's no modifier for me, because I do have Brave.
7 minus 2, so 5.
You both succeed. With the exact same roll, oddly enough. Just odd. There's a slight shiver up your spine as this book opens. There's something not quite right with the book. At this point, I need Eddie and Charles to make a support roll. How would you two, for this first step, how would you two like to support this action?
I don't know what action is currently being done.
Well, I mean, if I were to tell you that he's getting ready to roll a cult, that's not going to be that helpful to you either, so...
This is true. So I suppose, what is he doing that requires my help? You know what I mean? Like, in order for me to assist.
As the GM, what I'm saying is I'm allowing you guys to choose whatever role you want to make to assist. And then you can contextualize that however you like. Even if it's something as simple as, let's just say, looking at your character sheet, the gambling skill.
Roll some dice.
Basically, stuff that you would do when you were getting ready to gamble to give yourself good luck.
I see. So
Um,
like minor mental rituals type of thing, like
yeah. Right now, we're at the very beginning stages, so any sort of help right now is appreciated. That's why it's also kind of any skill you want to roll, as long as you think you could contextualize it in a way that might help.
Well, I like your gambling example, so I'll take that one.
I do want to say something to William as well, like in private, when Charles is when he's off doing another errand or whatever.
Okay.
Look, I get that this is for Charles, but just so you know, I don't agree with any of this. And if this goes
That's
wrong,
understandable.
I'm blaming you all the way to hell. You got my word for that.
Look at him. How much more wrong than dead can you get?
What I mean is if she comes back, but not as like whatever those other things were we saw. Things that were wearing the skin of the dead. We're playing around. We got into this, and now we're playing around in a world that we really don't understand. We're buying into it.
The only way to understand something is to try. To read, to learn, to do.
You know what? A few years ago, a couple of revolutionaries had the same idea. Look how that turned out.
The nation still stands, doesn't it?
When this is over, I'm leaving town. I'm gonna be perfectly happy never to see you again for as long as I live.
Yeah, that's what I told the skinwalkers too. And yet somehow I still find you two here.
Go ahead and give me that roll, Charles.
Ooh, a success.
From that, Eddie, I'm guessing you're going to abstain from helping.
I'm helping on behalf of Charles because of knowing how desperate he is at this point. I'm going to use a notice for any small details.
Okay, makes sense.
Just take care of it. Yeah. Because the last thing is,
It's also a success. This is a +2 to the start of your occult roll.
Okay. Well, dice, don't fail me now, please. We've had a bit of a rough time recently, but I think we can turn a new leaf and we can cooperate. Okay, it's not bad. It's not bad.
That is 1 token out of 4. This next one, as the air begins to chill in the room. Very clearly something's going on. Eddie and Charles, you're not 100% sure what it is. William, you feel like everything's going correct. At this point, if you wish to support William, I think we're going to require some sort of smarts roll. So some sort of knowledge, even if it's just common knowledge, to be like
also common knowledge.
We've been part of this for long enough now that something feels off, so let me think about it and correct it.
Okay. So yeah, I could do common knowledge. I could do repair as well. So if maybe an article is maybe skewed a bit, just kind of tweak it.
Okay. Repair works for me. All right, that is a +1 this time. Halfway there. Now, to you, Charles and Eddie, you hear as William begins to chant, you hear other voices join his. It's only your voice, William, that you can hear. At this point, I'm going to actually need something a little bit more potent from Charles and Eddie here. Would you be willing to give a point of fatigue?
Charles would absolutely.
Oh, yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay. Those count as automatic successes. So you have +2 for this roll, William. And I think this is the point that everybody realized would come to. This, as the crescendo reaches a fever pitch, Charles and Eddie, would you be willing to go unconscious for this and take a wound that would... Well, hold on. It would be the third wound for you, Eddie. Charles, you would go unconscious.
I would go unconscious.
You would not bleed out. I will give you that.
Okay. Charles is in desperation mode right now, so... yeah.
Eddie's really unsure. Jack wants to know what happens. So, yeah.
So you both will?
Yeah.
Okay. Same as before. These count as success with raises. So please add +4.
Hooray for crimes against humanity.
So at this point, I am actually... Let's talk about what happens to Eddie and Charles here. Real quick. It's not as bad as what they might be thinking. You are going to take... Both of you are going to take first as a hindrance.
Yeah, I was that sounds like a hindrance. Is that a major or minor?
Major.
What's the deal?
Okay, so it sounds off, but there's a reason I'm doing it this way. You suffer a -2 penalty to the arcane skill roll. Worse, if you roll a critical failure, the character is stunned. The penalty applies if a cursed character is within the area of effect or targeted by an additional recipient's modifier.
Can you put that in the chat?
Yes.
Thanks.
So basically, if you were to attempt to do anything with this book, there would be complications. And there is one other thing I need you to take. Let me just make sure. You will also be taking, all three of you will be taking corruption, which is another major hindrance. This one's a lot longer. And it's at this point, as the spell reaches an end, the lights flicker, the candles go out, and darkness takes the room. It's also at this point that if you have any wounds, I would want you to remove all wounds and any fatigue.
Ooh.
This is actually because of the rays at the end. The ambient magical energies seem to heal. We're going to await till the next morning when Charles comes to. You come to your room, bathed in light, morning light, you can tell. Bed sheets have been tossed aside. Neither William, Eddie, or the body of your wife are in the room. You are alone. You remember everything that's happened.
Yeah. Well, there's probably a moment where I wake up and think that it was all a dream. Then realize it's a bit too vivid. And it's not disappearing as you wake up. So, am I still wearing the clothes that I walked in with? Yeah.
Yes.
So there's still some blood stains on those, I'm sure. So that's another reminder. Oh, that actually happened. I'm head to look. We'll look around. Nothing in here. I'm gonna head downstairs. Kind of cautiously peeking around.
William and Eddie, what have you been doing this morning?
Eat my eggs.
And did it work? Did I need to leave the city? Is my life in danger?
The body of Charles' wife lays on a couch, the skin still knitting itself back together. So skin is regrowing rapidly. She's mostly covered with skin at this point. There's still obviously some minor, mostly the extremities are still missing.
It's like it started at the core and moved out, basically.
Yes.
Well, what I would be doing is looking for contingency plans and, flipping the next couple of pages to see what next kind of deal, if anything is needed. Like, do I need something else? Or
Roll occult. This will now be your main role to operate with the book. The book does go into details about different types of deaths and how long those take to repair. It doesn't talk directly about skin loss or being dead that specific way, so you're assuming, just based off of the other examples it gives, this might be on the longer end, which nothing is longer than a full 24 hours. Eddie, what are you doing?
I imagine Eddie, after the previous night, he's like, as soon as he regained consciousness, would have just gone out, probably just walking in, probably heading up to we're south, aren't we? So I just closed the game tab like an idiot, probably heading to the anywhere where there's just like kind of greenery around and just trying to like clear his head.
Fair enough.
So I imagine possibly, probably the old burying ground of all places.
Charles, you see William flipping through the book, and you see the body of your wife, still not breathing, but certainly remarkably looking far better than she did when, based off of the last time you saw her.
Yeah. So is Is that it? Is there anything else? Is she back?
The full recovery may take longer. It may take another day or so. Like I said, I only quickly read through these passages. I'm looking to see if there's anything more we must do. I do not believe so at this time, but as you can see, she's recovering.
Okay. I'm gonna get her some clothes for when she wakes up.
Would be best to keep occupied while you're waiting. Waiting is hard. It's best to do something with your hands in the meantime.
Okay. Yeah. Hands. Have you eaten yet? Do you want breakfast?
Did I? I probably did steal food from his house.
That-
I'm not that kind of person. No, I've been reading. Your kitchen, anyways. I wasn't going to dig through it. I can live without food for some time, you know.
Okay. I mean, yeah. I'll make some breakfast. Keep busy. Yes, I'll do that. Where's Eddie?
Went for a stroll, I think.
You coming back? Did you say?
No
I mean-
idea. He's been a little displeased with me. He disagrees with what we've done. Or what I've done, perhaps.
Yes. Well, I mean, he's a good friend, and despite his words and good intentions, he doesn't know what it's like to lose a wife. So I'm not going to hold that against him if he doesn't agree. But I appreciate that he at least stayed and helped. He does. I know he doesn't. He said he blew up his house. He doesn't have anywhere to go. So if he comes back, cool. He can stay here until he gets back on his feet. Thank you. By the way, if this works, I had never seen or heard anything. Well, I shouldn't say never heard anything like that, but I have, I got hopes. Fingers crossed.
I understand if it's not exactly something you want to talk about right now. You two were gone for a week or so. What happened? I know we got split up after the tunnels.
Yeah, I remember after I was knocked out, I woke up in, it was like a medieval torture chamber type looking, it was really unnerving. And then we were tied together. There was this other hooded, well, we had hoods, so I don't know if the other guy was actually hooded. I'm assuming. We did manage to escape, not without a bit of harm. And at that, he looks at his hands, which should be burnt and broken and scratched up knuckles, but they're completely fine now.
Yes.
That's weird. He says that out loud. And then, yeah, we went up through the chimney, hid out in a like a abandoned farm. Everything was dead. We made our way to, what was that town? Out of game. What's that town?
Dunwich.
Dunwich, yes. We wound up in Dunwich and then took the river back and made it here, and it's been a week, apparently.
Sorry.
It's odd. Found a weird journal when we were in that farm. What does it mention? Something about things needing to be in alignment, and then it was written like, phonetic English, like hillbillies talk, but there was a word that I could not figure out what it is. Yogg-Sothoth or something or other. I don't know what that word means.
At this word, William, the chattering in your head starts again from the book.
We came to an understanding. I'm gonna rub my head. What do you want to show me? And I'll flip through the pages.
751.
Go ahead and give me that roll. Oh,
751. Does the Necronomicon have a table of contents? Is it indexed?
Paged.
no, it wouldn't be paged, actually.
So someone counted 751 pages. Oh my.
Oh, we'll get back to that.
That's not good.
That is 2 raises.
I mean, I think that's good, but that's not good. But
It's not good when you do it in the Necronomicon, let's be honest.
So, Eddie, having walked around the burying ground a little bit, what's on your mind?
Yeah, sort of just watching and kind of like shaking my head. I'm going to go to the... What the hell? I'm going to go to the library.
Which library, just to be on the safe side?
I think it was... I've forgotten the name of it. It was the one where we met there was the librarian, and she took us to the Miskatonic University Library.
So the public.
It was the public, yeah. I didn't know if it actually had a name, but...
It's the public library. We're not going to fuss about it.
Yeah.
With that, as you make your way there, you find yourself back at the library. After a few moments, you're able to locate her. She's currently doing page work, as it were, placing books back onto the shelf.
Excuse me.
Places her fingers to her temple for a moment. Eddie, right?
Yeah. Look, a couple of things. Looking for a little bit of help with something. But I kind of got into some things recently, and if everything works out, I was just wondering if you like movies.
She gives a coy smile. I don't know many people that don't like movies.
What? Sorry, remind me of the year. Is it 19?
20-ish.
Yeah, we never gave an exact year for this very reason.
So maybe
Oh.
sometime in the 20s. That's
We'll say late 20s. Like 1920s.
Okay. Look, I just wanted. So yeah, just wondering if you wanted to go from see a movie sometime. You know, with me.
Sure. When do you have in mind?
2 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
right. I
Yep.
know, yeah.
Now.
Yeah. In about 3 days.
Keeping it cool with the 3 days. She gives a smirk. Also going to give her a notice roll. Jeez. Okay.
Wow.
She narrows her eyes at you. Also, something bothering you? You don't seem the same as when the last time we spoke. Sorry if I'm prying, there just seems like there's something weighing heavy on you.
I'll tell you what, if we do that movie, I'll tell you a story you will never believe. Nothing like it in any of these. And if you think I'm a madman, I give you my full blessing to throw a drink in my face and run away.
Well, here's the problem with that. And she kind of puts one hand on her hip and tilts her head to the side. I like mad.
I might have you double guessing yourself on that. But for my sake, I really hope that's true.
Well, I'll see you around.
Not if I see you first.
And she keeps her eyes on you for a little bit. Warm smile on her face before she's not going to stare at you for an awkward amount of time, so unless you turn away, she will eventually go back to placing books on the shelf. But she does linger.
Once the conversation's over, yeah, there'll be that inevitable awkward pause when both of them knowing the conversation's over before Eddie kind of heads out.
Out and to where, though?
At that point, yeah, I'll go back to Charles.
And so will we. Now, I just sent Gavin literally a Wikipedia page. That's all the information he pulls up on Yogg-Sothoth. All the general basic information. Literally comes flooding in. Not only are you reading it, but then the book is also chattering parts of it to you. So you're essentially being able to take it in as you read and having the book fill it in. There's nothing like it. It'd be like being able to read something and listen to something completely different and being able to understand and contextualize both at the exact same time.
What do I do with this now? Does that book, whatever you were reading, it mentioned that name, and it mentioned an alignment, correct? I'm just going to clarify things for the sake of myself here.
It mentioned something about needing more space and a long chant on the specific page. Something about fire can't burn it.
Alright, well, that's not incredibly helpful. That name comes up. That name, title, word comes up in this book again. So whatever you read is not just a one-off rambling of a hillbilly, as you put it.
I mean, it was weird enough to stick in my mind. That's why I mentioned it with all those other weird goings on. But if it's in there as well, I wonder what that farm had to do, or wonder what they had to do with that book. What book is that, by the way? It gives me like a weird feeling when you first opened it.
Nobody's told you the name, but yeah, nobody's told you the name. The book hasn't even said a name. However, the name just comes into your mind.
It's, from what I understand, nearly the complete Necronomicon.
See, don't know what that means.
It is a name.
But if it truly did work the miracle that you suggested, I'm grateful for it. To it. And you?
I do not believe the work is done yet, though.
No, she's hasn't gotten up yet. That's why I'm still, like I said, fingers crossed, hoping. But she looks better. Absolutely better.
I do not believe that any return to normalcy is complete yet for any of us. In 2 days, something is happening. I'm gonna try and flip back to wherever that
Give me an occult roll.
Oh no.
Can't find it.
Is the gambler calling in you? You've got bennies.
Yeah, oh, come on.
You've got 3 bennies.
I'm pulling up the image.
How far along are you in that tunnel?
I've got to be at the end now. Come on, I can. All right, we're gonna reroll. All right,
You were, yeah.
there we go.
Not only do you find the page, but you understand the page a little bit better. The ritual, ritual is probably an understatement of the century. The astrological clock that you found is not for the being that Charles has just mentioned, that helped you dig, so to speak. It's for a different entity. One that still has what you would probably consider a random jumble of letters for a name. But it's easy enough to read. Cthulhu. It is not a ritual per se. A ritual would indicate that there's some measure of control over what they're doing. A lot, especially with the clock on hand, a lot of what they're doing is taking advantage of a situation. But it is an attempt to awaken this being.
In 2 days, the forces that we've been dealing with for the past month or so, I believe, are going to try something. Now, unless you can disappear into another country, jungle, and disappear forever, it's probably going to affect us all. So, just saying, work is not done yet. They know our faces.
Eddie, if you would like to enter the scene at our work is not yet done, they know our faces.
I'm guessing that means we're until the end.
Or
How long we got? 2 days?
So he says.
2 days until a door opens, but maybe that door can be closed.
Hopefully that door can just stay shut altogether.
Unfortunately, from what I hear, or what I understand, there's a group of individuals murdering people and trying to open doors that should probably be closed.
Now, why are they trying to do this? Like, what's the end goal for them?
I would say, based off of your recent successes, I'm not going to make you roll for this, to dig up this bit of knowledge. The cultists of Cthulhu are always certifiably insane, but their want to awaken this entity is always to hand Earth back off to who they claim is its rightful ruler. This is told to you by the book itself.
Why wouldn't you want to open a door that could grant you power, that could grant you a place in a new world order? I mean, the reasoning is not that simple. It's not that difficult to understand.
And
You open the door to something that can take over the world, and it probably will show kindness upon you for opening the door. Also, probably a little bit of psychedelics, mental disorder. Mix of everything, I'd say. As you can see, there is no denying that whatever is written in this book is, some of it is at least true, based on the fact we have skin re-knitting in the other room. That much you cannot deny. And I don't know if we would like to risk this clock being wrong and not take action on it.
Didn't we just have a war about people trying to take over the world?
But not on our shores.
Some people just want to be on the winning side. Can't help but feel everything's stacked against us.
And with that, some wind makes its way through the house. Maybe Eddie didn't close the front door when he came in. Maybe a window was left open. However, the wind catches the pages and flips to what appears to be an illustration of a city deep, deep below the waves. And that is where we will call this session. I want to thank everybody for watching. This is Rollsborne with Shadows over Arkham. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you next time.